Today in Grow a Garden and Roblox, we're going to be doing our newest pet value trading tier list, and by looking at it, you're going to see that there's a lot missing. If this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button, become part of the first 300k OGs on the channel, and let's get into the video. So what happened to the list? What's going on? Well, you're probably going to guess just by looking at the content that I removed pretty much the entire bottom of the tier list. Everything that is not on this tier list has so little value or just doesn't trade online to the point where including them doesn't really have a point. Let me give you an example. The swan. Looking at the value I have listed here for the swan, it would take you 39 swans to be equal value to a simple raccoon. 39 swans. So as you can imagine, many of the pets that were on this list that were down low, they're just so low in value. You need so many of them in terms of online real world value to get to anything useful in this game. It's just not worth listing them. So if you have a swan, if you have anything not on this list, feel free to trade them one-to-one for anything not on this list. Or many of the things in the E tier. You know what I mean? Just don't sweat it too much. Trading down with any of the 130, 140, 150 plus pets that aren't on this list, don't sweat it. Just trade them. It's fine. Now, moving into the list, the poor dragonfly. Let me pull up my list here. The poor dragonfly is just at the bottom of E tier. It is literally the bottom of E tier. And the only reason I'm keeping it on this list is sentimental value. I just feel bad for this poor thing. But it's now at the point we have received so many bug eggs in the game and so many people have left the game that online this thing is borderline worthless. And it's just too bad. It's such an iconic pet in the game. After that, we move on to the corrupted kitsune, who is in the middle to top of E tier. It is still a pub stomping pet. People in pubs still love this pet. You can still get some pretty cool trades. You can get D or C tier pets in public servers depending on the kind of person you find. French fry ferrets. French fry ferrets are fantastic pets. French fry ferrets are in the C tier. They have some value. They're very useful. If you can get heavy ones, if you can make them nightmare. You know what? Just saying that, anything that is heavy and nightmare, or rainbow, but nightmare of the pet is generally more desirable. And there are some guidelines, some weight cutoffs that I will discuss with specific pets coming up. Actually, one of those pets is this guy right here, the seal. A regular, average, everyday seal is towards the bottom of E tier. They're plentiful. They're not that valuable. Seals are used for seal food. Go figure. However, the cutoff, the line in the sand on the seal is a no rainbow, no nightmare. The weight is 1.71 kilograms. Any seal over 1.71 kilograms is worth more than any seal beneath 1.71 kilograms, because if you're over 1.71 kilograms, it is capable of hitting the 6.25% threshold it needs at age 100. Why 6.25% on its effect? Because at that point, 8 of those equals the 50% cap you want for its effect. 1.71 kilograms. Anything over that will reach the number you need with 8 seals. The Mimic. I'm sorry to report, the Mimic has officially become an E tier pet. People are farming the paradise egg relentlessly to the point where people are using regular mimics as seal food to get more paradise eggs. Why? Titanic mimic, Titanic peacock, Titanic capybara. So people are seal farming with Brontos on the field and kois on the field to stretch out paradise eggs for forever. And so tons and tons of mimics are being spawned as people continue to try and acquire a Titanic mimic, a Titanic peacock, or a Titanic capybara. In order of importance, mimic way more important, peacock's quite important, capybaras are like a nice, alternate reward, nice consolation prize. Up next, we have the Pachycephalosaurus. And I've had multiple people message me and say, Kro, I know that right now crafting isn't a big deal in the game, but it will be a big deal in the game in future updates. I want to require Pachycephalosauruses. Where's their value online right now? So I'm going to show you the Pachycephalosaurus as of right now, even though there are no crafting events going on in the game, is a top of D tier pet. That's where it sits online. The demand for it, however, is low. So you can either acquire it here at this value, you can hope that it drops lower, or could be as soon as next week, where a crafting table is put into the game and you can craft eggs, you can craft chests, you can craft whatever and the Pachycephalosaurus becomes a game changer in the game. It's just one of those pets you definitely want to hold on to. Having said all that, if you're trying to acquire Pachycephalosauruses, they must each be 12.5% in their effect so that 8 of them gives you a 100% chance of a double craft. To reach 12.5% per the weights you're looking for with no rainbow or nightmare, 2.17 kilograms. So hard to do. 2.17 kilograms normal, or 8 of them, 1.77 kilograms with rainbow will get you there, or 1.73 kilograms with nightmare. So 1.73 and nightmare is as low as you can go in weight to get 8 of them, 12.5%, 100% chance to double craft. So not only are you learning values, you're also learning effects, so I'm here to help. The Disco Bee continues to slowly go down. It is an A-tier pet. The relationship, I will get to the relationship once I get to like the Spino or the Butterfly, but the Disco Bee is an A-tier pet. It's still pretty much 2 to 1 to a raccoon. Maybe the Disco Bee player has to do a little bit of an ad, but 2 to 1 to a raccoon is pretty fair right now. The Queen Bee. The Queen Bee is still a D-tier pet, just below the Pachycephalosaurus in terms of value, like barely, like the difference is negligible. However, the Queen Bee will probably trade better and easier than the Pachycephalosaurus. Having said that, if we get crafting next week, or any update moving forward, the Pachycephalosaurus will be in hot demand compared to the Queen Bee. The Squirrel, back on this list, it does have a medium to a medium-low demand. I went and looked at the transaction list. People are still acquiring them online for real-world value. As such, it is here in the Bronto range in C tier. Why? You don't just want one squirrel, you want 8 squirrels. So anytime they do transact online, they transact in bundles of 8. In terms of weight, to get infinite reclaimers with the squirrels, the weight is only 0.84 kilograms. So basically, any squirrel before it reaches level 100 will pass the 12.5% you need to get to infinite reclaimers with 8 of them. You could probably even get away with less of them if they're bigger and heavier with Rainbow, Nightmare, etc. But ultimately, 8 squirrels over 0.84 kilograms will get you infinite reclaimers by level 100, but more often than not before level 100. Ascended pets continue to go down. Ascended pets are now B-tier pets. They're basically the equivalent of a Spino. However, I would rather the Spino 100 times out of 100 because trading ascended pets, as we've discussed every single week, is just hard to do. The Echo Frog is back on this list because it does have value online and does trade fairly well online because it's one of the better pets for making plants grow instantly. The Echo Frog is down in the D tier with the Queen Bee, just a really good, solid, useful pet. Bald Eagles are a bottom of D tier pet. They are the best pet for hatching eggs in the game. People using scripts and illegitimate means were able to go back in time to servers that could offer the bald eagle and buy them with barn owls to get huge bald eagles. If you see huge bald eagles in the wild, they're not legitimate. Don't acquire them. The Butterfly still has value. The Butterfly is over here in the B tier. It's at the bottom of B tier. It is worth a little bit less than a Spinosaurus or an Ascended pet. I would still take a Butterfly over the Ascended pet. It is still worth a little bit less than the Spino by a decent chunk. Basically, an E tier pet is the difference between the Butterfly and the Spinosaurus. Brontosauruses are fantastic. I got tons of stats, weight stats for the Bronto. Just hold up with me. Brontos are C tier pets. They're really, really good, really, really useful, and they're fantastic because people want to hatch bigger and heavier, heavy pets, huge pets. The Brontos combined cap at 30%. How do you get to 30%? More often than not, you're going to need at least 4 Brontos. And here's the hard part. 4 Brontos with no rainbow and no nightmare have to be 2.25 kilograms each. That's really hard to do because Brontos can't make Brontos bigger from eggs. Therefore, you're probably going to have to use rainbow or nightmare. Here are the rainbow stats. 4 Brontos with rainbow, 1.2 kilograms. Pretty easy to acquire. 4 Brontos with nightmare, 1.1 kilograms. Is it possible to go to 3 Brontos with rainbow or nightmare? I think I looked at the numbers. I don't think it's possible. I think if you ever want to go less than 4 Brontos, you're jumping into huge Brontos. So you need 3 huge Brontos to get to the percentage to 10% each. But to get to only 2 Brontos, I think I saw the number. You needed rainbow Titanic Brontos of 8.8 kilograms age 1, like huge ones. So don't worry about it. Stick with 4. Get 4 normal ones or just get 4 rainbow or nightmares over like 1.1 or 1.2 kilograms. Just normal size ones. Lobster Thermidor, bottom of D tier pet, still holding up some value. I just don't think it transacts that much online. The T-Rex is a C tier pet, popular, useful, not hatched as much anymore. I think the people who are hatching pets have turned their attention to Titanic mimics, Titanic peacocks, and Titanic capybaras with the paradise egg. I mean, why would you spend the time hatching dino eggs when you can't acquire the little dinos for less than the T-Rex now, right? The T-Rex is among the cheapest of the dino egg because it's been seal farmed into the dirt. And now all the other seal food is so rare, their values are up here close to the T-Rex or sometimes above the T-Rex because there's just so few of them. As such, the T-Rex is no longer being farmed. It's not worth it from a value perspective. So the people who farm pets have turned their attention to other things. That's why the butterfly and the disco bee are dropping, is because those are being farmed. And that's why the mimic is plummeting, because those Titanics are being farmed. The tiger is holding steady on its value again because there may be a bajillion jungle eggs out there. This is actually listen to this. This is a really hilariously funny thing. It's a D tier pet. It's got value. Everyone knows that numerous tens of thousands per person jungle eggs were spawned using scripts and bots. We all know that. We've seen the images. So logically in our brains, we're like, why isn't the tiger dropping in value? Why isn't it dirt cheap in value? There are so many jungle eggs out there. Because the people hatching eggs don't think the jungle egg is worth it. It's not worth the time. Even with 15-second peacocks or 15-second mimics or whatever, it's not worth the time. Why spend the time hatching that when you can spend the time hatching anti-bee eggs to try and get a disco bee? Or hatching paradise eggs to try and hatch a Titanic mimic. So that's why, even with all those eggs floating in the wild, it just hasn't dropped in value. This pet's a funny pet. Fennec, still valuable. Still roughly the same value as a disco bee. They're pretty much interchangeable. Online, it's listed and labeled higher than the disco bee, but the disco bee has more demand, like far more demand. Huge pets start at butterflies and then go up from there. There's a whole different category. It's a whole different conversation. Koi. Koi are E tier pets. Good, useful, solid. Here are the stats you need on koi. To take 8 koi to reach the 50% eggs back on the field cap you're after, you need 8 koi, rainbow, 1.21 kilograms or more, hard to do, or 8 koi, nightmare, 1.18 kilograms for nightmare. 8 koi, 1.18. So you really need some big koi to reach that cap you need to hit 50% times 8 pets. Blood owls have some value. They're D tier pets only because you can no longer hatch them with eggs you never could. They've only ever been a store pet. Their supply is limited. The phoenix has some value because people really value its ability to spread mutations, and it still trades fairly well. Spinosaurus is a phenomenal pet, top of B tier. If I was ever trying to move up the pet value list, I would focus on trying to acquire basically T-Rexes or even fennec foxes. Not fennec foxes, French fry ferrets. And then from there, I try to acquire Spinosauruses. And then from there, I try to acquire disco bees. And then I try to acquire raccoons. That's how I move up the list. The pets off to the side, those other pets, it's hard to know how well they trade. Blood hedgehogs, bottom of E tier. Useful pets, but not the best pets right now. Blood kiwis, also the bottom of E tier. These guys are here because of rarity and because of lack of supply. The raccoon, S tier, but continues to fall. Here is the relationship. The raccoon, as of right now, is a bit more than 2 disco bees. 2 disco bees plus an E tier pet will get you to a raccoon. 2 raccoons plus a D tier pet will get you to a kitsune. That's the range. 2 spinos to a disco bee is an overpay. A spino and a butterfly is kind of similar to a disco bee. And now the headless horseman. This pet refuses to drop into insignificance because of its phenomenal effect. This is for a random, everyday, whatever weight headless horseman. And a random, everyday, whatever weight headless horseman is still a C tier pet to this day. It's around a French fry ferret in value, which is pretty close to a T-Rex. It refuses to plummet because of its phenomenal game-changing effect of providing nightmare onto pets. The pet mutation machine has lost pretty much all use. The tiger gives dawnbound from time to time, which is kind of cool. And the headless horseman provides a better rainbow. As such, the headless horseman is desired by everybody. If you have bigger ones that are also nightmare, they can be more valuable. I, for example, managed to hatch, with the help of my brontosauruses, a 2.77 kilogram age 1. And right now it is my nightmare machine. It applies nightmare at I think it was age 30. less than 20 minutes is phenomenal, right? Headless Horsemen have value. The Dark Spriggan, the normal Dark Spriggan, not the Ghost one, the normal Dark Spriggan had value online, but I don't know how much is transacting, so I didn't add it to the list. However, this ghostly Dark Spriggan, this is my warning. I said it last video. I'll say it this video. This is the one you buy with Robux. If you find one online and it's listed for this ridiculous value, more expensive than what you would spend on Robux, just buy it for Robux. You can buy it multiple times for Robux. As such, at maximum, it is a top of A tier pet. Maximum. However, people probably won't trade you at that value. They'll probably trade it to you less than that value. However, don't even think about asking for more than this value, because people could just spend Robux to acquire it themselves as opposed to trading away their raccoons or trading away their kitsunes. I still wouldn't even trade away a Disco Bee, etc. to acquire a Ghostly Dark Prison at this range. I personally value it less than this, but that is what it is worth based off of its Robux valuation. You'll probably trade for it less than this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was useful to you. If it was, go ahead and hit subscribe. Become part of the first 300K OGs on the channel, guys. And as always, thank you very much for watching.